Hello, everyone. Wow, the stream has just started, and I'm already seeing four people in the stream. Wow, 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 and already a like. Wow, amazing. Usually, for my talks, I usually let like maybe 3, 4 minutes of uh, waiting for entrance to come. And by the way, for this talk, I'm gonna test out something new that StreamYard has offered, which is background music. Tell me, do you guys hear the music? Is it audible? Does it sound good? I've been testing out the different music options and I think this one is pretty nice. Hello Jason. Hi, hi, hi. Hello, Idol. Idol? Or is it a bit soft? Would you guys prefer it to be louder? Put it to 30. 35, 36. Do you like this song? There's still time. Usually like I said, I usually take a few minutes to get everyone to join in before I begin. This is just a test try. Like, if you guys enjoy it, then I'll probably recommend the other speakers in SGU, in the Lighthouse show, to try out the music options. How is everyone? It has been raining a lot lately, huh? Earlier today, Sans Pro. Yeah, earlier today it was so cold in the SGU room. It was freezing. I forgot to bring my jacket. So if any of you students ever want to visit SGU when it rains or even plus the earthquake. I actually didn't feel it. I was basically frozen solid. And where was my thought? Yeah, if you guys ever visit SGU, make sure to bring a jacket or wear layered clothing because it is so cold, especially during rainy season. Hmm. So I hope all of you are keeping yourself warm. And for people who felt the earthquake, I hope you guys are safe, not terrified by the feeling of the earth shaking beneath you. Okay, I think this is a good amount of time. Oh, 7 people. Yeah. It's a good amount of time, and a decent amount of people have joined in. So hello. I don't know if there are new viewers to the SGU Lighthouse now, because the last time we appeared, you guys are either during your final, no, not final, your the end of the semester. So you guys were focused with your studies and such, exams. And the last time I appeared, I believe you guys were just entering, returning back to Uni 10 for the start of the semester. So probably have missed me. I am Hadiah, an intern counselor here in the SGU, the student guidance unit. Uh, One of the 3 counselors available right now for the next couple of months here in Uni 10. And today I'll be talking about self-awareness, basically cultivating self-awareness. For those who has joined my talk before, you may have a realization that, doesn't this sound similar to her previous talk? What was it? Social awareness? Yes. I am someone who prefers to do things who are, you know, if it's within the same theme, it makes my life so much easier. So let's get right into it. Cultivating self-awareness. So this may be familiar to some of you who had joined my talk previously about the self-awareness thing. But for those who are new, I basically just copy pasted my previous slide into this new slide, which is basically about social emotional learning. The self awareness thing and then the social awareness that I mentioned before was a part of this SEL thing. And by the definition by CASTLE, which is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, it's basically a community of like many educators or counselors as well. They gather around and create a basic foundation of to assist children, young adults to improve their social emotional learning, which is basically like the process of for all young people and adults acquire and apply knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, and etc. etc. For the case of self awareness, it was basically this whole research suggested that when we as individuals see ourselves clearly, we feel a lot more confident and more creative. For myself, you see how my creativity shows? I just basically copy pasted the previous slides to here. So, by having good self awareness, we are able to make sounder, better decisions, build stronger relationships, and be able to communicate more effectively. And then, having a good sense of self awareness, we are less likely to lie, cheat, and steal. Is this a good, is my self awareness good enough that I am able to admit to all of you that I copy pasted my previous slide to here? Maybe, because I'm being honest here. There's no lies, no cheats. Wait, I guess this is a cheat, huh? So, by having this, also, we are able to be a better worker and hopefully get better promotions because by being able to, attend to our skills and such, we become much more effective leaders, and thus the employers and companies will feel so much more satisfied with your ability to create better profit for them. So, another familiar sight for those who joined my talk previously, the castle wheel. Where's the pointer? Previously, I used this whole wheel beforehand and talked about social awareness and relationship skills. Two in one, basically. But this time around, I'm gonna be a lot more mindful of the time and just talk about self awareness. All of these are very important. All of them are interrelated to, become a better individual, better human being, basically, by having this good social emotional learning. And so self awareness is actually tied together with self management, like they're both closely related. But this time around, I decided not to, include the self management because honestly, I feel it sounds pretty similar to self awareness as well. Like I said, interrelated. And maybe next time I'll talk about responsible decision making. Like I said, once I have a theme, I'll just follow around it so I don't have to work too much about it. So, now, the definition of self awareness. CASTLE, this whole group that I mentioned earlier, they defined it as the ability to understand one's own emotions, thoughts, and values, and how they influence behaviors across contexts. Why emotions? Because emotions are one of the most powerful factors in how we interact with other people. And if you have a high level of emotional intelligence, then you'll most likely be able to recognize and accept their varying your emotional states. Like if you feel angry, then most likely you'll avoid talking to people, so you won't ruin your relationships with them. If you're happy, then you'll be able to be much more motivated to talk to other people, be more open with them. And thus, once you know your emotional state, then you can basically improve and enhance your professional relationships and personal relationships. And then by thoughts. Thoughts are closely tied to our emotions. Like I said, once you are that's fine, Sabrina. I'm watching the chat as well while I'm doing this. I'm watching you guys. So, for thoughts, like I said, tied to emotions, once you know and are aware of your emotions, then you will be able to process and understand your thought and how the procedure is going. Like I said earlier, if you're feeling angry, you'll be thinking, okay, I'm in a very angry and emotional state. This is not something that I want to show to others. So I should go somewhere else or calm myself down before I talk to other people. Mm, and that's values is also, of course, tied together with everything else. It's basically your moral compass, like how you talk to people and how you behave with other people. Because some people tend to have different values, and sometimes it may clash with other people's you know own personality and their own set of values. So for self-awareness, it includes many aspects. Right now I only set 4 up here on the slide, but there's actually more, which is integration of various attributes. Basically, it is the attribute of your personal and social identity. Personal, as in who you are when you're alone, and then the social identity, who you are when you are with other people. And once you have this integration of self and outside identity, you'll be able to recognize your own strengths and limitation. And then you can demonstrate honesty and integrity. You can examine your prejudices and biasness, basically in a more cultural aspect. You won't be able to, stay there and judge other people like, how come that guy is richer than me? Or people who are rich are stuck up. Then if you have high self-awareness, then you probably won't be thinking of such thoughts. And then there's also developing interests and a sense of purpose. Because, like I said, once you have your emotions, thoughts, and values, the awareness are there, you've developed them, then of course you will also develop your interests and how you want to proceed with your life. And then those other parts that I didn't include, but I did include in the lectures notes, the speaker notes. Identifying personal, cultural, and linguistic assets, basically all your skill sets. Identifying your own emotions, that is a given, considering the definition. And then the ability to link your feelings, values, and thoughts, also within the definition. And then you are also able to experience self-efficacy. Have you guys ever heard of self-efficacy? I'm looking at the chat. Hint, hint. Have you ever heard of self-efficacy? Hint, hint. I'm still looking at the chat. No. Okay. Self-efficacy is basically the belief of your own capacity to execute the necessary behavior or actions. It's basically, do you actually believe in yourself that you are able to do this? Like, for example, you as a student, you have to do your presentation. Are you able to, be brave enough to step forward and talk to us? Tell us, Hadiah. I am telling you. And thus, with experiencing this self-efficacy, you're, having that belief of your own capacity, then of course your own mindset will evolve and grow. And congratulations, you have leveled up and maybe evolved into a new individual that is, more aware of your skill set your weaknesses, your strength, and your ability to do whatever you want once you set your mind for it. Okay, next, categories of self awareness. Now, Castle itself, they have defined this whole, let me see, the meaning of self awareness and then the inclusion of self awareness. So it's very difficult for me to find more information of it. So uh, I found there were different states of self awareness. So basically, self Castle developed this cell thing, the castle wheel, and then by that it's like a seedling that branched off to other people, to other researchers, to expand the knowledge of self-awareness, in order to develop, to assist the development of people in their daily life, like day to day. For example, even though Castle has set the definition, but some people still consider there are different other definitions of self-awareness. For example, some may see it as just the ability to monitor your own inner world, how you believe and how you look at the world within you. And then there are other people who just see self-awareness is just some kind of temporary state of self-consciousness, like you're just briefly within the thought of, yeah, I can do this. Just that kind of temporary state. And then there are also others who describe self-awareness as just a difference between how us see ourselves and how others see us. So that is why this one particular research article that I read, they formed like a category of self-awareness, which is the internal self-awareness and then the external self-awareness. Pretty much a given, because it's like how you see yourself and then how people see you. So the internal self-awareness, like I said, is just how we see our own values, our own passions, aspirations, and how we fit with our environment, and then how we react and make an impact on others. So by having this kind of internal self-awareness, basically it helps with the in career wise and assists you with getting a higher job promotion, and then gives you a better sense of satisfaction for your relationships, because as I said, once you know what you want, what your passions are, then you'll be able to mix and match with other people based on what you know about yourself and then how you view other people. However, there is some negative impacts that relates to anxiety, stress, and depression for people who internalize too deeply of their self-awareness. And then there's external self-awareness, basically how understanding how other people view us, you yourself, in terms, oh my gosh, there's a typo, in terms of the same factors for internal self-awareness, basically the same values, passions, aspirations, fit with our environment, reactions, and impact on others. So from there's like multiple research that shows that people who know how others see themselves are pretty much capable of showing empathy and taking others' perspectives, because they are able to look through the lens from other people's, basically like they're able to put themselves in other people's shoes and see how they view other people. Does this make sense, or am I rambling too much? I hope that makes sense. Now, there are 4 self-awareness archetypes following that the external and internal self-awareness. said internal self-awareness, how well you know yourselves versus external awareness. Wow, I another typo here. I forgot to put the little shield thing over here. How well you understand how others see you. Make sense? Nice, thank you. So this was developed by Dr. Tasha Urick. Got a bit cut off down there. This fabulous doctor made a very wonderful TEDx talk before. It's called Increase Your Self-Awareness with One Simple Fix. Because she believed that 95% of people believe they are self-aware, but only 10 to 15% are actually are. How? Here, there's like 4 sides here. Low external self-awareness, high external self-awareness, high internal self-awareness, and then the low self-awareness. And all 4 sides, show different sides of people. For introspectors, they have low external self-awareness but high internal self-awareness. They are able to see themselves clearly, but they are unable to empathize with other people by looking from their own lens. They're clear on who they are, but don't challenge their own views or search for blind spots by getting feedback from others. This can harm their relationship and limit their success. Basically, they are the type of people who internalize their ideas, their sense of being, but they don't go off and spread their teachings to others as well to get, better feedback or better ideas from other people. This is the opposite to seekers and awareness. But let's go to people who are highly external, have high external self-awareness and also high internal self-awareness. And these people are one of the better ones because they are actually aware. They know who they are, what they want, and then they will go off and ask for feedback from other people's opinions. Sorry. This is where leaders begin to fully realize the true benefits of self-awareness. These are the type of people that most likely will get promotions. Probably. Because who knows with the economy right now. And then we go to the people who have low external self-awareness and low internal self-awareness. These are the seekers. They have no idea who they are. They don't know what they stand for, what their values are, and how other people in their team, in their workplace see them. So in the end, they may feel like they are stuck and frustrated because they feel as if they're not being understood, and they themselves don't understand themselves. They don't know their weaknesses. They don't know their strength. They just live on. A bit sad if you think about it. And I hope they'll be able to develop any kind of external or internal self-awareness for themselves. We can assist them one day. Anyway, going to low internal self-awareness but high external self-awareness. These are the people pleasers. You've known them. I've heard of them. They are basically people who are able to talk to other people, give them a bit of, compliments. They see a lot of, good points of other people, but they may not know themselves much. I guess, like the slide here shows, they can be focused on appearing a certain way to others, like a certain mask they wear, and they could be overlooking what matters to them. That is the low internal self-awareness peeking in, because they have no idea what they stand for. And then over the time, they tend to make choices that aren't in service of their own success and fulfillment. Basically, they will just continue on to be followers instead of leaders because they just want to be complimented, give compliments to other people as well. make other people lead them. So it's not really like a bad thing. Uh, it's just that if they are able to, make a step of increasing their internal self-awareness, learn about themselves, then they would be able to seek the awareness state. I think I may consider myself introspectors, given that I don't really care what others think about me. I see. Honestly, I was just about to say, same. uh, Among all of these four self awareness archetypes, I believe I am an introspector as well. Uh, for the question, I'll be answering for the Q&A later. But thank you for the question. So basically, they know who you are, uh, but most of the time you don't care about the perspective of other people, because who are they to, they don't know my ideas. I get that. Like I said, I am also in introspector, but also at the same time, um, this may also be a bit negative impact for us introspectors, because it's usually just us caught up in an idea but not seeking, self improvement, because they may be blind spots in our ideas, but having good feedback from others, it would be, creating the ultimate plan. Uh, yeah, true. So here is what Dr. Yurik recommends. She says that it's better not to fall into the trap of valuing internal self-awareness over external self-awareness, or even the other way around, etc. Because most of the time you need to actively work on both of them, seeing yourself clearly and getting feedback to understand how others see you. Basically what I just said about the introspectors. um, she also added on that instead of allowing a negative inner critic from answering the introspective questions. Wow, I am so bad at speaking tonight. Dr. Yurik recommends replacing why with what. This is very interesting because as counselors, we ourselves are taught to use what instead of why during our sessions when attending to a client. This is due to the word or the usage of why tends to be sometimes self-deprecating. Uh, well, it leads to self-deprecation and then self-criticism, basically. And then it usually leads to like an close-ended question, like why? Because this. But if are to use what instead, it's almost like you are, you know, creating different solutions for the question. For example, why did this happen? It was because I didn't do enough. Why? What if you use what? What caused this situation to happen? Do you feel the difference between that? What caused it? It may be due to this, or maybe due to that. That's why. That's one of the reasons as counselors and maybe the educators as well use this what instead of why, because again, usually why is kind of close-ended and also usually leads to self-criticism instead of using what. In counseling, we usually use the term as changing the language, because words are powerful. Once you have, a set idea of a certain meaning, then usually that is either your downfall or your stepping stone to a better path. Because, yeah, just having the question of why did this happen? Why did this cause myself? I'm looking at the chat. Sabrina says, interesting. Now that I think about it, I may be categorized as the pleasers. Perhaps you have good self awareness for externally, but low internal self awareness. You are unable to judge your own capacity and abilities. You may doubt yourself most of the time. And then Idol, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Idel. Do tell me if I pronounce it right or wrong. You feel as if you're not self aware enough since you don't know what category I am. That's understandable. Sometimes it feels as if you are just floating within the atmosphere of everyone else, like you're like in a tide with other people. You just can't help but follow the flow. And perhaps you may be seekers. Who knows? Maybe you do have some knowledge of yourself. Okay. What are the benefits of self-awareness? Sabrina says the what and why really has different feels, not gonna lie. Yeah, it does. Changing the language just creates a better, impact to an individual. So, benefits of self-awareness, just like the previous one where I said that there are different points of this. There are different points of this, but I only selected two of them because I do not want to waste so many slides and then, talk your ear off talking about something that basically sounds similar to one another. So instead, I just chose two. One is improving your emotional intelligence, and two, giving direction to your own efforts. Emotional intelligence, like earlier, I mentioned that once you know your emotions, what you feel, then you will be able to link one after another, your thoughts, your actions, your behavior, your values. So yeah, awareness of your own values and generate certain emotional responses. Again, if you are aware of your values, like, I know this is wrong, so I'm not gonna do this, then you'll avoid the situation. Uh, if any of you are someone who has watched my previous one about the social awareness, this an example of this maybe social norms, which is like the guidelines of other people, the rules of society basically. And the example would be someone is bullying a young child or group a group of people bullying this one child, and then your value is that this is wrong, then you would, even though other people are ignoring what's going on, if you have a good self-awareness and you have good high sense of values and integrity, then you'll be able to generate and move according to what you believe in. You would stop the bullying. There's also knowing the emotions you feel at any given time and the reason. In counseling, it's interesting that some people may feel a certain way, but they never acknowledge the cause of the event that created the emotion. Perhaps an example is the sense of fear of failing. They don't know what caused it. It may be because after going through a lot of talk, it may be due to their family was the cause of, after countless times of the family doing so and so, then the individual may be feeling a bit used to it or may not be aware of it. But once you are aware of the cause, the family, then you'll be able to know, I'm feeling sad because of what my family did. I didn't realize that this was actually not normal to other people. That may be why. And then the understanding the links between emotions and thoughts and actions. That's basically what I already said. And then effects to performance. This may be related to giving direction to your own efforts as well. Basically, how you perform your duties, your presentation for assignments. If you have good emotional intelligence, then you'll be able to smoothly do your assignments. Otherwise, you'll feel as if I'm not as good as anyone else. What's the point? So you don't do your assignment. Something like that. Now, giving direction to your own efforts. Basically, you are now able to utilize your known strength to be more effective in any appropriate situation. This may be related to, again, let's use the assignment example again. Each individual has their own sets of strength. For example, this assignment is a presentation. Maybe you yourself is someone who can do a talk on the fly without any notes, and that is your strength. And then in that group itself, there are other people with different strength. Maybe the other one is one who is the one organizing all of the information, creating the slides to make it look more, organized, effective. The information is there. And some people, I myself, if it were me back when I was in my bachelor's, my slides were a mess. Constant information overflow. Now I am getting better at that. Otherwise, it would be so messy. Now it looks kind of neat. I hope so. It looks neat for you guys. So yeah, that's basically how you utilize your own strength to benefit yourself and benefit other people. And then there's also acknowledging your own weaknesses to cooperate with others and prevent from reacting inappropriately. Let's use that assignment example again, or even my example. Maybe if I were the one creating the slides for my presentation, with my group presentation, then and I don't acknowledge that, okay, my slides are messy, I don't tell the other group members, then the presentation may be a mess because even they themselves don't know, where's my part? Where did my part go? What is this? Then it would basically ruin the whole experience. And then there may be arguments within the group. Don't worry, it didn't happen to me. I don't organize the slides. Okay. Thank you, Sabina. Even though I said that I didn't list all of them, I did put them at the side. I'll just mention them briefly. The other benefits of self-awareness: finding inner peace, more effective communication, improved decision making, clear purpose and direction, stronger relationships, have a more optimistic attitude, less regret and guilt, and greater empathy. Now, these are the benefits of self-awareness. I didn't mention them and put them on the slide itself because pretty much they sound similar to what I've already said, right? Finding inner peace, you feel as if you already know your emotions. You feel as if, I know what I can do. More effective communication, avoiding that, arguments within the group because you know your weaknesses, you know your strength, you know your part. So now you have less regret and guilt. So yeah, pretty much you guys already know what I mean, right? Now, the actual thing that you guys came for, just how to cultivate your self-awareness. But here I just use building your self-awareness so it doesn't repeat itself. Like the previous ones, I actually only selected like 3, even though this was the main point of this whole talk. But don't worry, I did put a lot of other examples. So, building your self-awareness. Writing. Writing helps a lot. Some people prefer drawing, using a lot of creativity. It's not just the writing thing. If you are also a very artistic person, this is part of the writing part. In counseling, we call this something like bibliography, basically using, writing to bibliotherapy, actually. Bibliotherapy, yeah. To, assist you and feel more organized. Thought diaries, SMART goals, self reflection, journaling. All of them sound pretty similar, except the SMART goals, obviously. Thought diaries. A thought diary is a foundational place to begin the self awareness. It's basically how you can keep your track of thoughts in a notebook, and basically in the form of what occurs during that time, and then you can track your level of emotion to the event that basically triggered that emotion. And once you have all of this, if you ever have time to sit down, you can analyze both the event that occurred that caused the emotion, and then the level of emotion you had, in order to better understand the main reason you are experiencing these kind of tribulations in your heart and mind. But if you don't have the time, at least the thought diary will assist you to keep track of your many, many issues, the common threads of what you have, felt around the time. SMART goals, I'll be showing you an example of that. I'll be skipping this for a bit. Self-reflection, it's almost like the writing thing. The thought diary, and also the journaling. Basically, self-reflection, you can do it at the end of the day, maybe even before bed. You put down, write your feelings, like, today I felt blah 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 because blah blah blah. This happened because blah 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 blah. It's like just putting there also the daily stuff, and then you reflect, like, I felt pretty fine after talking to my friend today, after days of not speaking with them. That is the self-reflection. You reflect over the days you have, gone through. Journaling is also similar to self-reflection. If anything, journaling is almost like a combination of the thought diary and also the self-reflection, because you put down basically a lot of things, your day-to-day, and then maybe you put your, what time occurred this, and then you can also reflect about your day as well. And then there's mindfulness. Mindfulness in counseling is a word that is said a lot, especially for relaxation therapy and such. So mindfulness is basically the meditation, using guided imagery. You feel your feelings, you create something with your own hands, and then you just experience your life. A good example of mindfulness is for the relaxation, like I said. Some people who are anxious, they can sit down. Maybe they can use different stimuli, your senses, your 5 body senses. Touch. Maybe you can touch this doll I have right now over here. Can you even see it? No. And you feel like, oh, this is so soft. I feel so comforted. That is a part of mindfulness. You are starting to feel aware of your many senses. Maybe you use your ears. You hear your mother talking to your dad, and they're laughing, and for you it's like, oh, this is peaceful. They're talking normally. It's a very peaceful night. Having this sense of calmness within you, you'll be able to build up your sense of worth as well. I'll answer the questions later on. Thank you for asking so early. So it's basically just you experiencing everything through your own body. And also your mind, of course, meditation and guided imagery. And then there's also feedback. This is the most common way you can build your own self-awareness. You can ask your friend, if the one that you are most comfortable with. And then from there, you can ask them about uh, how do they see, um, do they notice your strength? Do they know your weaknesses? Because having an outside perspective that is honest will be very, very beneficial to you. Hmm. Another way is the feedback, actually, not exactly feedback, can be also mindfulness, is a lot of questioning of yourself. You can create prompts that basically ignite your sense of self-discovery. For example, you can ask questions to yourself like, if I could speak to my teenage self, I would say, good luck, kid. No, I won't say that. You will experience a lot of things in your life that may be very surprising for you because it is so far off from what you were uh, planning. That this is something that I would say to myself, to my teenage self. Because even back then, my teenage self was very lost. She thought she knew. I use she. No, in counseling, it's better to use I instead of putting yourself in a different perspective. When my teenage self was back then, was very lost, and I can say that I have improved from my past experiences. That's just an example of what you can, create if you want to ask about yourself. Like, if I could speak to my teenage self, and then you can also ask questions like, can I come up with 20 things that can make me smile? Can you? Can you put the 20 things? That's a lot. You may think that, oh, I have a lot of ideas, and then you may just come up with, oh, huh? Only five? What else makes me smile? Maybe that's something that can happen. Other questions? You can also have, when I'm in pain, the sweetest thing I can do for myself is, for me, I'd say play video games or to go to sleep. But going to sleep isn't very, is it considered healthy? Maybe if you lack sleep, then yeah, it is healthy. But if you are just, avoiding a situation, avoiding reality, then sleeping is not a good solution. Mm. Good self-awareness, once you have a certain idea of it, you'll also have a sense of how am I feeling and what caused it. When am I at my best? When do I feel angry? Basically, the questions you have. What kind of person do I want to be today? What stresses me out? Where do I fit into my family or community? Those are the typical questions, or what self-awareness may be building up towards. So, other examples. Have you guys ever seen this before? This very, I was gonna say rainbow, but it's not really a rainbow now, is it? There's black in it. This is the feelings wheel. Uh, Basically, this assists you into, oh no. Well, if you ever join counseling, you may be seeing this in some ways. If you, especially if people who are, we can't spin the wheel, unfortunately. But I can zoom in. Now it's, you can imagine that it's spinning now. So some people, like I said, they are unaware of what they're feeling. They don't know or how to categorize what they're feeling. So this may assist them into finding what exactly are the feelings you feel. Feelings you feel. Wow, that's a lot of feeling. Now, so maybe this individual feels happy. But what kind of happiness? Oh, I'm looking at the stream and my spinning is very wooz inducing. I hope you guys don't feel queasy looking at that. Where was I? Happiness. If you feel happy, Is it because you feel a bit playful? Or are you feeling a bit proud because you feel a bit successful or confident? There's a lot of feelings in this wheel. For people who are sad, is it because you feel lonely? Or do you feel vulnerable? Are you in despair? Are you feel guilty, depressed, hurt? And then once you acknowledge this, you move on to this. Lonely? Is it because you're isolated because of COVID? Or is it feeling lonely because you've been abandoned by your peers, your friends, your family? So this basically assists individuals to, you know their feelings in depth. You guys may be wondering, lonely because no girlfriend. Aw, I have no words for that. I apologize. Don't feel lonely. We're here. You're here as well. I mean, you're here with me as well right now. Thank you for not making me feel lonely. There's like 15 people right now, I believe. Thank you so much for being in my stream, in my talk. Okay, where was I? Talking about the feelings wheel. There's actually a self-awareness wheel, but I didn't include it here because I looked at it and I was like, I don't understand how this works. So it's better for me to not show it on the talk, because then I would feel like a fool if I, give you guys false information. See, this is like a good example of self-awareness. If you are aware of, this is something that I am lacking of. I won't show it. I'll learn about it, and maybe one day I'll, be able to show you guys and teach you guys the information that I lack. There's also this, the positive pivot scale. Pivot. Now, this is basically how it works. Consider a challenge you are facing today, and then identify where you currently are responding on the positive pivot scale. And then you ask yourself, what would I need to do to move to a higher number on the positive pivot scale? I hope so. If you are already here, you do not turn into an ultra omega superhero, because apparently this image shows that they have, like, what was it? A cape, a superhero cape. You'll turn into God, maybe. don't take my word off to it. But basically, this is for individuals who, like the previous one, if they don't understand their feelings, or they don't feel like they don't understand the negativity or how positive they are, you can put this as an example or a guideline of where you are. It's almost like the hospital thing, like the pain scale, from 1 to 10, how in pain are you? So for this is like from a -5 to a +5, for 5 to a 5. How bad are you feeling right now? Maybe you have encountered, or maybe we're in an argument with someone, so you may be feeling a bit destructive. I want to destroy it. I want to punch something. Baymax. Yeah. Or maybe you feel a bit feeling a bit shamed, like me. Oh, I feel a bit embarrassed doing blah 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 from Baymax, or the Big Hero 5. Was it Hero 5? Big Hero 5. So you feel I'm at a -3. I feel a bit shameful. It's not my fault. Sabrina was the one that mentioned Baymax. That's like a blaming behavior. Not my fault. And then there's also -1, apathy, denial. What exactly is the problem? I do not see. It's almost like the three monkeys thing, like see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. You're just in denial. And then there's also people who are feeling, if they are feeling that denial stage, how can you move on? You can put a band-aid on it, do something to fix the situation, and then you can come come up with a plan, be optimistic, and then you can transform into a positive opportunity. It's basically how you can, if you're here, how do you move from here? How do you move from here until you turn into a superhero? Okay, this is the SMART goals that I promised you. It's a bit like ant size reading. I hope this is visible now. As a counselor, I use this a lot for my clients, for my sessions. This is basically for individuals to understand what they actually want and where they are in their life, what goals they're setting. So the initial goal is like basically write the goal you have in mind. Maybe for me, I would say like, I want to be a very good speaker. I have a talk on Friday 9 p.m. for Lighthouse SGU. That is my initial goal. But then there are many questions, like, be a bit more specific, girl. What kind of successful talk speaker do you want to be? So you ask your question, like, what do you want to accomplish? Be a very good motivational speaker. Who needs to be included? The viewers, the students of Unit 10. When do you want to do this? 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Fridays. Why is this a goal? Why? This goal is I made this a goal in order to pass my internship and get good program hours, and also give good information to my viewers, to the students of Unit 10. That's just an example. And then there are other questions, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. It's basically an acronym, SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. And each of them have their own specific set of questions that you can answer. And it's like a form of the bibliotherapy. And said, if once you put something down, yeah, awfully specific. Yes, I wonder why. Once you have like put down words on a piece of paper, it's not floating in your mind anymore. I always use this idea or imagery of basically you have a lot of ideas, you have a lot of issues and problems in your mind, and they're all just floating in the space of your ideas up there. And then, like I said, they're just floating around. You can't catch them. But once you catch them, put them on a piece of paper where it's visible and you have an idea of what you do, then most likely you'll be able to move on and start your set destination, what you want to do. Okay, even though this is the SMART goal slide, I did put other stuff that you can also try out for writing. Again, there's also another technique to build your self-awareness, which is writing a regret letter. Wow. Writing to your former self about regrets, and then attempt to forgive yourself for those mistakes that you have made. This kind of act will likely make you feel a bit more human, because you acknowledge that I've done this before, I feel really bad. And then you just realize that, I can move on from that now. You just bury those burdens or those regrets behind. Because, like I said, it's visible now. You acknowledge it. It's on a piece of paper. Because taking these kind of like regret letter, it sounds a bit more kind of morbid, maybe a bit negative, but this is like a good healthy risk that you can make just to build up your own self-awareness. It's almost like you are placing yourself in a very new situation that is outside your comfort zone, because who wants to write a letter, like a very depressing letter, and then try to forgive yourself? Of course, yeah, of course, this may be difficult to some people. Other ways to also improve your self-awareness: be a bit more active by joining a club, volunteer in a lot of activities, volunteer maybe charities, or maybe a lot of activists. Begin a new activity, basically mindfulness. Create something, maybe paint, maybe exercise, do something with your body. And then switching to open-ended questions, like I said, changing the language thing. Try to change why into what, or maybe you can ask uh, better questions instead of just a one-line answer. For example, if uh, you are maybe in an internship, you can go and ask yourself, like, tell me what is my relationship with my supervisor, blah 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 blah. You list down the relationship side, and then how do I see my future, blah 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 blah. You put down your ideas and such. Those are examples of open-ended questions. Now, the end. This is the Q&A section. Let me go back to the StreamYard. It's been a while. The Q&A session. Yay! Oh, let me go back because I believe there were some questions. And also, you guys can also add on to some questions. Assalamualaikum, may I ask a question? Can we also cultivate self-awareness with the power of gratitude that I have learned before? It is true to be grateful not only when we receive, but to be grateful for something we have not received is better. It's fun to study this field of psychology and made me fall in love in studying it when I got to university later in addition to law. Inshallah. Inshallah. With the power of gratitude have. Yes, you can cultivate self-awareness with the power of gratitude, because this is basically an acknowledgement of, the external self-awareness. You are aware of what other people have done for you. They have assisted you, and by having that sense of awareness, it's like empathy as well. It builds up that empathy and your emotional intelligence, because wow, I have received so much help and I want to better myself. Even you yourself have shown here. It's fun to study this field of psychology. It's basically because of this many assistants here, you've developed this sense of, finding it fun to study. I personally don't find studying that fun. Nah, for some topics I do find things fun. But yeah, it's basically you have developed this feeling of, in betterment. There's also another question from Hadiah. Isn't it true that what I learned through the title of belief system states that it's actually good to be a little selfish? But can't we always sacrifice for others for the sake of sympathy and love? This is more of a moralistic question, I believe. Belief system says it's actually good to be a little selfish. Yeah. In my opinion, don't take my word for it. In my opinion, it's good to be a bit selfish, because if you just follow a set of, following other people, then most likely you will lose your sense of self. So being a bit selfish is good for you, because you're basically defending yourself. But why can't we always sacrifice for others for the sake of sympathy and love? I mean, sacrifice for others for the sake of sympathy and love. Is that the main reason you want to sacrifice yourself? If it's just for sympathy and love, then it may be a bit... I can't really say a better word, because it's like Can't we always sacrifice for others for the sake of sympathy and love? Because I do understand, and maybe because you are lacking that, you know, uh, affection. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I hope you guys didn't hear that. My mic is so close. Embarrassing. Yeah, like it's probably because you yourself, in the past, maybe you lack affection from other people. So you may be willing to sacrifice yourself in order to receive that kind of affection. But of course, it may be a bit, yeah, negative to yourself, because now you lose your sense of self because you want to follow other people's. This may be similar to the pleasing type of self-awareness archetype earlier. Any other questions? No questions? If there are no questions, then I can end the talk, because I was hoping I would end it early, but I still took 1 hour. That is another thing that I need to practice on. There's no more questions, right? Well, if there's no more questions, then I will briefly promote my fellow friends, my fellow colleagues in the SGU. Ow, ow, my leg. The SGU team. Mr. Jason, I believe some of you know him. Last week, he was also the moderator to one of our guest speakers. He's very good, spoken, very knowledgeable. So if you guys want a very, mature counselor, go to Mr. Jason. There's also Miss Maisara. Maisara is also very kind. She goes straight to the point most of the time. For self-awareness here, for me, I strive to be like my Sarah, because she was able to listen her talk. Well, here I am adding more time. I apologize. So if you want someone like that, go to Miss Maisara. If you want self-promo, me, well, you already know how I am just by this talk itself. Yeah. For everyone else, where there's supposed to be someone dropping the scoring link. Thank you so much for watching. Oh wait, I forgot to remove this talk. There's also our doctor. Yes, our doctor. Thank you, Lighthouse Crew. Thank you, audience. Don't forget to tune in next week, same time, same place. Next week will be my Sarah's turn to talk. I believe it was about seeking forgiveness. How to apologize. Yes, how to apologize. Yes. So if you guys ever want to learn how to properly apologize to someone, like me, myself, I'm so sorry for adding more time, then go to my Sarah's talk next week, 9 p.m. on a Friday. And there's also the scoring link. Thank you so much for watching and staying for so long. Right. I have a question on the scoring, right? Oh, I already closed the tab for it. Let me help assist you guys in the question I set. Where's the question I set? Here is the answer for the question I set for this scoring. So, yeah. Thank you so much, and I will end the talk now. Thank you.